Welcome everyone to the 2016 AAA 400 Drive for Autism at Dover National Speedway race review, where I recap what went on before the race, during the race, and after the race, looking ahead to the following race. So, overall thoughts on this race? If you told me at the beginning of the season that one of the best races of the season, if not the very best race of the season, would happen at Dover, I would not have believed you. And that's just my opinion. I think that this was the best ever race that I can recall ever since I became a NASCAR fan almost a decade ago, and that is really a shock because Dover over the past several years has been known for putting on some of the worst races of the season. For example, races like last fall were, for the most part, like kind of unwatchable and just forgettable for the most part. But this race was action packed. There was a lot of good racing. I will admit that the first quarter of the race was very lackluster, but after that, my goodness, what a race! A lot of cautions in this race. The most cautions for a Dover race, I think, in also many years. I want to see the last time we had so many cautions. The last time we had this many cautions was the last time we had more cautions than what we had. And by the way, we had 12 cautions in today's race. The last time we had more cautions than what we had in today's race, 2007 fall race. So definitely a caution-filled race. Especially late in the race, it got pretty destructive with a big one. And big ones at Dover seem to happen. One thing I've noticed is that is the Dover big ones seem to happen every 4 years, because we had a big one in the spring 08 race, we had a big one in the spring 2012 race, and now 4 years later we have a big one in the spring 2016 race. That's a strange pattern that I've noticed. As far as good racing, the low downforce package, and also a new tire, the new tire that Goodyear brought to this track, definitely. Because of those two things, we were able to see Dover at its best. Multi-group racing, battles for the lead. For example, Kyle Larson and Brian Keselowski, Kyle Larson and Mark Truex Jr. And late in the race, we had a 3-horse race between Matt Kenseth, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott, which was just heart pounding, on the edge of your seat kind of racing. That is both NASCAR and Dover at their best, in my opinion. So. Overall, like I said, one of, if not the best race this season. Okay, so pre-race notes. So one of the first things that I wrote down, well, it was actually the first thing, was something that I honestly did not expect to be writing about at all. And that is, some NASCAR drivers are talking about ways to reward your regular season performance when the chase comes around. And some drivers came up with a suggestion of like a first round bye, where basically if you score the most wins or you score the most points after 26 races, you get an automatic ticket to the second round, regardless of how well you do in the first round. And maybe a few other suggestions along the way. And many of the drivers that I've heard about like the chase, so it's kind of interesting to hear them talk about them wanting to change how your performance is rewarded in the regular season. Honestly, the best way to reward regular season performance, erase the chase, go back to how things were 2003 and before, and there you go. You'll be able to reward the entire regular season, because the regular season will last from race 1 to race 36 instead of race 1 to race 26. But that won't happen as long as Brian France is the leader. So I'm just kind of wasting my breath on that suggestion, it feels like. Also, for the first time, someone got penalized for not having all 5 luggage tight. Adam Stevens, and either it was like the tire carrier or the person who puts on the who puts on the lug nuts, got suspended for this weekend. Todd Berrier was the crew chief for Kyle Busch. And overall, I guess if NASCAR wants to not have loose lug nuts or loose wheels, etc., then I guess they're then these harsh penalties seem. I guess they make sense, but then there's a part of me that I think I said like 2 weeks ago that the penalties you get just feel harsh. I might have said that, and part of me still feels like that. And also, safer barriers. Once again, in the conversation, we started off the weekend talking good about the safer barriers because it was announced during like Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe Thursday, that safer barriers were put in like turn number 3. But in the Friday practice, early on practice day, Dan Patrick had some sort of like gear failure, put oil on the racetrack. Tony Stewart and ran right into the oil line, and both of them went hard into the outside wall in the front stretch, which doesn't have anything there at all. Both hard impacts. All 3 drivers were fine for the most part. Tony Stewart was able to walk away, and that's a good thing considering that he just got back in the car less than a month ago due to injury. McMurray, I think, did have like a slight elbow injury, but other than that, he was fine. Once again, we need a serious liquid safer barriers on every inch of the wall, and this is something that Dover could have done years ago, but I guess we didn't quite learn a lesson after incidents like Kyle Busch at Daytona Xfinity last year and Austin Terrell in the Truck Series in Las Vegas. Hopefully they are there when we come back to Dover in the fall. And as far as what went on in the practice and qualifying, Kevin Harvick was fastest in opening practice, which I think was rain shortened, but I might be wrong. And rain ended up canceling qualifying, so the top 10 were Kevin Harvick, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr., Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, and Matt Kenseth. Then Saturday, Gibbs was dominant in both practice sessions. Kyle Busch was the fastest in the second practice. Denny Hamlin was fastest in happy hour. And so it was definitely shaping up to be another JGR kind of weekend, but I also predicted that Kevin Harvick would be strong, Martin Truex Jr. would be strong, and definitely don't count out 10-time winner Jimmie Johnson. While the racing has improved thanks to the aero package having much less downforce than last year's package or the year before that, etc., clean air was still important, and it was very obvious at Dover, especially early on in the race, and we heard many times on the Fox Sports 1 broadcast, clean air, Mike, is so important. A few drivers, I think you even said on the radio, my car is just so well out in clean air. It was irritating to hear that because I don't like races being decided all because the driver got out front, but it's still there, and we still have some work to do. And so because clean air meant so much, your performance in the pit road meant a lot. It often seemed like that whoever won the race off pit road was going to be the leader most of the time, and be able to pull away from the back. We saw it with Brad Keselowski, we saw it with Hamlin. Heck, even for like a lap or two, Greg Biffle, when he used some strategy, was able to get the lead and hold on to it for a few laps. So clean air is still important. I mentioned how like the first quarter of the race was very calm, but then all of a sudden, once we got to the halfway point, from there on, we saw a lot of bizarre events. And the first one was when Reed Sorensen blew up. And watch in the back, you're gonna see Jimmie Johnson spin, and Jimmie Johnson was running inside of the top 10. Oh, I guess I actually just realized that Carl Edwards also spun as well. And then Reed Sorensen comes down the racetrack, and we're gonna go onboard Kevin Harvick. He came very close to getting involved in this crash. Johnson did get some slight damage hitting Josh Wise, but other than that, he was fine. And so that was really the first bizarre incident I captured. And then the second bizarre incident was probably around close to lap 300. Kyle Larson and Brad Keselowski were battling for the lead lap after lap after lap. And then not too long after Kyle Larson passed Brad Keselowski, Keselowski came across the slower Austin Dillon, who got involved, hit the wall early in the race, and these two made contact. And this would pretty much take Keselowski's chance of winning the race away. But that's something you certainly don't see every single day. The caution came out for debris a few laps after that, in my opinion, a few laps too late. And then possibly the most unexpected crash of the entire race long. Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth were first and second, and they had both taken just 2 tires, and that's how they got in this position. Jimmy Johnson was the leader, and all of a sudden he can get up to like 3rd gear or something. Checks out the whole entire field, and we have the big one at the Monster Mile. Big ones at the Monster Mile actually seem to happen every 4 years if you look at it. We had a big one in 2008, big one in 2012, and now a big one in 2016, all separated by 4 years. This was definitely the most. I think the last time I can recall a big one this unexpected was the 2012 Spring Talladega race. We had a big one on the restart, and this big one took out a lot of big names and a lot of cars on the lead lap, like Kyle Busch, Greg Biffle, Eric Almirola, Allmendinger, Stenhouse, McMurray, Kevin Harvick, Mark Truex Jr. had fast cars. They got taken out, and that pretty much took away their chance of winning. Logano also gets involved in a crash for the third week in a row. Who would have thought that at that track that he's won it 10 times, Jimmy Johnson would have been the driver to stay away from, and then after this crash we had a restart, and also had this very unexpected Carl Edwards half-fast car, and all of a sudden he gets hit from behind by Kyle Larson and goes head on into the inside wall, almost comes right across the track in front of Ryan Blaney, and advertisements, and honestly, in my opinion, what happened here was that Carl Edwards was going okay. Was that okay? So Edwards was underneath Kurt Busch, and Kurt Busch also got a little too high at the same time and went into the wall. But I think Edwards got loose or checked up, and Larson had nowhere to go. This late in the race, you're not going to lift. You're going to give it your all. This was less than 50 laps to go, and also this wreck also made it pretty much certain that we were going to have a brand new winner. It's hard to have a battle better than what we saw late in the race at Dover between Matt Kenseth, Kyle Larson, and Keith Elliott. But what made it special, in my opinion, was the fact of how it was a good mix of experienced veterans up against newer, younger faces. Matt Kenseth. Neither of these two drivers have won a race at all this season. 2 of them had not won a race at all in their careers. And so I think that's why the battle was so fantastic, was that because no one had a win, they were going for it. Having at least one win gets you into the chase, and because of that there's a lot of incentive to race hard, especially if you haven't won a race this season. And for Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, they're also racing hard, because they want to get the first one back badly, and they were right there in the hunts. And so I think it was the fact that it was newer faces and drivers that haven't won at all in their careers. I think that's what made that Larry's bout so great, in my opinion. And hopefully we can see a lot more of this in the future. And one thing I hope we can see in the future is hopefully at some point we can have a first-time winner, because really a first-time winner, or maybe just simply a driver that hasn't won very often in their career, because we've come close on a few occasions. We've seen drivers like Austin Dillon get finishes. Elliott has been close to winning races. Kyle Larson came really close this time around. Allmendinger and Martinsville came close. So many drivers that are underdogs have been very close, have been close to getting a win, just haven't been able to do so. But hopefully later in the season we can see that. So, wrapping up Dover, like I said earlier, one of the best races of the season, if not the best race. There wasn't a clear winner. There was a lot of action, a lot of unexpected events. And we now have a new winner in Matt Kenseth. I would have liked to have seen Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott win that, but I'm fine with Matt Kenseth winning, especially after the struggling season, after the struggling start he had to the season. And I also want to highlight some of the other finishes. Casey Kane got near top 5 in 4th place. Brad Keselowski was able to recover from the contact of Austin Dillon to finish 6th. Denny Hamlin recovered from being 2 laps down thanks to hitting under green, and the caution came out, and then another penalty for improper fueling. Ryan Blaney now has 3 consecutive top 10s. Martin Truex Jr. Even though I know he is disappointed that he once again had a winning car and couldn't capitalize on it, he finished 9th. Trevor got his 3rd top 10, so now he has more top 10s this season the one he has gotten in any of his previous seasons from race 1 to race 36. And even if you look behind, some solid finishes for Paul Menard, Cliff Blair, Danica Patrick got her best finish of the season in 13th place. David Reagan also got his best finish of the season in 17th, and I think Chris Buescher, and actually, I need to look at this. I think Chris Buescher got his best finish of the season as well. Yes, Chris Buescher finished 18th. Landon Castle. Did he get his best finish of the season? Oh no, never mind. Never mind. I forgot. He finished 19th in this race, but I forgot he finished 11th at Talladega. Michael McDowell, I think he also got. Oh wait, never mind. His best finish was 15th in the Daytona 500. He finished 20th at Dover. So many drivers got some good finishes. But now, as we look ahead to the All-Star race, the past few years has just been a total bore. But I think, I think this new format, which the Drivers' Council, specifically Brad Keselowski, came up with, but also the fact that NASCAR plans on taking away more downforce and even side force. I think it's going to make the racing even better. So I think that this is the most anticipated All-Star race in possibly in many years at the least. And who do you think I'm going to do? Who do you think is going to win the All-Star race? Well, it's a 1.5-mile track, and the Gibbs drivers I think have been very good at these 1.5-mile tracks. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Gibbs once again up front. But really, it's not always easy to pick the right winner in the All-Star race, in my opinion. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see if any surprises make it into the show based off of the sprint showdown. Of course, we have the fan vote, who I think is likely to win the fan vote. I mean, I think like the top candidates are like Danica Patrick, Chase Elliott, Matt DiBenedetto also has a lot of followers, especially after his 6th place finish, and has been saying like he'll change the name on his car to like DeBurrito or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see who wins that fan vote, because there's no clear winner for that either. Anyway, thank you all for watching this race review. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and bye.